How's it going, gang? It's a final render here, and as some of you may be aware, today the legendary trader is being released in Fallout 76, the Purveyor. This Purveyor is a mole miner called Murmrgh, I believe it's pronounced, and this is a legendary trader where you can trade in some of your old legendaries and hopefully get some new ones. Or more correctly, you will scrap all of your older legendaries to get a currency, and then you have a random chance of getting a new legendary by spending that currency with this trader. It's a very cool system, and we're going to talk about how the system works and how you can actually get the most out of it in this video. So the way you get your legendary scrip that you use as currency with the Purveyor is to go and take all of your legendary items, whether if it's armor or weapons, to one of these scrapping machines that you can find at every train station in the game. They have 150 scrap in them per day, and you can go and drop all of your legendaries out and armor in there in order to get the scrip out of it. These are non-refundable, so once it's in there, I believe it's pretty much in there. I don't think you can get it out. And also, there is a very interesting price range with them. A 1-star weapon will yield you about 5 scrip, but a 3-star weapon will give you around 40 to even maybe 45 scrip, I think I saw once. And armor, it's even less. For a 1-star armor piece, you will get 3 scrip. And if you have a 3-star armor piece, you will get 24 scrip. So there is definitely a huge increase in value for weapons rather than armor. So if you are going to go ahead and scrap anything, do your weapons first, your expensive ones first, and then later on as time goes on, you can put your armors in there. So now that I've got my scrip, over the week I was able to get about £1,500 worth of legendary script down, and I was able to get the full 1,000 scrip limit. You can only carry 1,000 scrip at any one time. And also, let's take a look at these prices. For a 1-star legendary armor, you will need 15 scrip. For a 1-star legendary melee weapon, you will need 25. For a 1-star legendary range weapon, you will need 25. And now for the 2-star stuff. For a 2-star legendary armor, you will need 30 scrip. For a 2-star legendary melee weapon, you will need 50 scrip. And for a 2-star legendary range weapon, you will also need 50 scrip. And then going on to the 3-star stuff. For a 3-star legendary armor, you will need 60 scrip. But for a 3-star melee weapon or ranged weapon, you will need 100 scrip. So therefore, you do need a lot more to buy them, but also you do get more scrip for weapons out of the machines than you do for armor. So it does kind of balance out. One thing which is missing is that, if I remember correctly, there was meant to be a mystery option to where I believe if you paid something like 60 scrip, you would get a random piece, and you would have no idea if it would be like a 1-star, a 2-star, or a 3-star. That appears to be missing right now, but then again, this has literally just dropped. I was literally standing outside the station the moment the door opened. It was like Black Friday. I just dashed in and went straight to the trader. It was extremely cool. But now, let's see what I got with my very first 1,000 scrip. Starting with the legendary ranged weapon, I paid 100 scrip for this, and I got a Hunter's double-barreled shotgun, which is explosive and reduced weight by 90%. That's actually pretty darn good, actually. Any explosive shotgun is very cool, so I'm happy I got that. After that, I got a Junkie's harpoon gun, which has more VATS critical, plus agility. Okay, not my thing, but it's alright. Anti-armor black powder rifle, which is 20% faster reload and more damage while aiming. Actually, a very good 3-star range weapon that would be right there. We also get a Nocturnal Salvage Assaultron head, 10% damage while aiming, plus 1 perception. Awful, we don't want that, that's terrible. We also get the Vampire's Gatling gun, VATS critical shots, 50% more damage plus agility, again awful. And then we get a Mutant Slayer's 44 pistol, awful. What do we get after that one? I believe we get, oh yes, we get the Vampire's lever action. Pretty cool gun, but it's pretty rubbish on a lever action Vampire's effect. Suppresses Pipe Revolver, who cares, that's an awful one, really don't want that at all. And then we also got the Zealot's crossbow, again pretty darn terrible, not very exciting. But then after that, of course, we only have one more. So I go for a melee weapon. And I get an Assassin's War Drum. 10% more damage to players, reflects back 50% melee damage when blocking, and takes 40% less power attack damage. That is actually a really good melee weapon right there. I was very happy I got that. I believe my other character actually has the exact same weapon, actually, that Assassin's War Drum. It's actually pretty darn good. So I got a lot of rubbish in there. Fair enough, I got a lot of rubbish in there. But one thing which is important, I believe, which I think a lot of people probably haven't jumped to straight away, is that all the ones that you get that you don't like, you can just put them straight back into the machine. Because after all, there is a machine at every train station. So if you're not happy with one of the things you got, you can pop it back in the machine and go have another go. Now, honestly, I think the best way to probably maximize the amount of weapons you can get from this that will be sellable to other players is probably to go for the 3-star legendary weapons. Whilst it is true that you can get the 2-star ones for cheaper, and you can't necessarily guarantee what weapon you are going to get from the ranged weapons, at least it is a 3-star ranged weapon, or even a melee weapon for that matter. If you get a bad one, you can trade it back in the machine for 40 scrip, but it costs 100 to get another one. So if you get 3 bad ones, you know, after a few days of trying it, then eventually you can go ahead and get a new one. You maximize the amount of chances you can get something that's really good. And not only that, but frankly, nobody wants to buy 2-star stuff. Nobody wants to buy 2-star stuff. They either want 3-star, or they will maybe take a 2-star if it's something like Assassin Sentinel Armor, for example. But for the most part, people are only interested in paying large amounts of money, or even trading for 3-star stuff. So honestly, I think the best way to maximize the amount of stuff you can get from the Legendary Trader is to only deal with weapons and trade in the ones you don't want afterwards. Something else people will be saying is this vendor actually a bit of a rip-off? Is it actually worth spending the time to go and try it out? Well, the obvious answer is yes, it is absolutely worth it. Whilst it is true that if you give her a 3-star piece of armor, for example, you're only going to get 24 currency out of it, but that will, chances are, be a piece of armor that you already are okay with giving up. Chances are you will not want that bit of armor if you're even considering putting it into the machine in order to scrip it. So I think it'll be totally fine. And I actually did some very quick maths in my head, and I believe with the £1,000 worth of legendaries I was carrying, I believe its total value at a vendor would probably only be around 700 caps worth if I was to sell them to the robot vendors in the White Springs, for example. So in reality, I really didn't lose any caps doing this. But one thing which I think is a really good thing to keep in mind as well is that it's free to do. You're not losing anything by doing this, so you might as well go for it. If you've got a load of legendaries, go ahead and script them. You might get the thing you want, and even if you don't, you've still got that legendary that you can either sell, or you can go ahead and script it and have another go. Just don't script anything that is genuinely worth something, and it will never ever be a rip-off. But something else which I want to talk about is, people will say, well, how can we improve this system? Can it be any better? Because as of right now, it is entirely random chance. What I would prefer to see are some ways I think this could be improved. Firstly, when you actually sell your legendaries to the machine, personally, I would like to see more script value for what the legendary effect is. For example, if I have a nocturnal weapon, that should be worth much less than, say, a bloodied weapon, for example. Because some effects are much more valuable than others, like bloodied is very much in demand, explosive is always in demand, you get the idea. So just make it so that it's the legendary effect that dictates the price, not the star count of the weapon or the piece of armor. I think that would be a much more interesting system. And also something else which I think would be really, really good is that I would like a system to where I could literally just buy whatever item I want from the legendary vendor. I want to be able to go up to her and say, I want a bloodied, explosive, faster aim down sights, handmade, max level. I want that. And then I want her to then give me a quote. Even if she says, in order to get that weapon, it will cost you 5,000 scrip. I don't mind if it's more, as long as I definitely get the weapon I want. Because I would rather go ahead and grind for scrip in order to eventually definitely buy the weapon I want, rather than just aimlessly playing the game and hoping I get that random chance that I eventually get the weapon I want. Because I think that will actually give you something to aim for then as well. You will have a reason to keep going for the legendaries. You will have a reason to keep trying so that you can eventually buy the legendary weapon or armor you want for definite. Takes some of the guessing game out of it and gives you something to save up for. So there we go. That was the Purveyor, and that was also me basically scripping £1,000 worth of legendary items to see if I got anything good. Ultimately, I didn't really get anything too good. I got one good war drum, which I definitely think I will go and sell maybe in my shop. And I also got an explosive double-barreled shotgun. I might go ahead and sell that on the Reddit marketplace because bloodied shotguns are always in demand. Sure, it's only a hunter double-barreled shotgun, but it is still an explosive double-barreled shotgun, and people always want those. So I'll go ahead and trade that on the marketplace, probably get maybe 10,000 caps for that. So thank you very much for watching this video. This has been me, the Final Render, checking out the Legendary Purveyor. I really like it. It's a very, very good welcome change to the game. We are very near the end of Wild Appalachia after all. There's only 2 more things meant to come out for Wild Appalachia, and that is of course Project Paradise, the Arcos Farmer raid, which is coming out next week. And there is still obviously the possibility of getting the camp decorations in there, the junk decorating in the game. That's not there right now, and I don't even know if we will get it anytime soon, but we should be getting it at some point. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to check out all the cool Patreon people in the description below who help support the channel with their financial donations. You can do the same, of course, and also the exact same for the YouTube members. All these people help support the channel and help keep it going, and I can't wait to see you guys subscribe and tune into the next video. So thank you very much for watching. I've been the Final Render, and you've been the audience. Until next time, farewell.